Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Mr. Terry Morgan, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Welcome to BlckBold&Beautiful podcast, the Cultures podcast. We thank you for joining us. We are excited about speaking with you for a little bit and getting some information on what you do, who you are.
Yes.
Um, and I'm Ashley Angelini, your host. You know me as something else. We're going to leave that where it's at. Um, but it is definitely a pleasure to have you on the show. Definitely to talk to you in a different limelight. So I am definitely excited. Could you go ahead and give the listeners just a short intro of who you are, what Rise of Tomorrow is, and what your goals are with it?
Absolutely. Again, this is Terry Morgan. I founded Rise for Tomorrow about 6.5 years ago, 6.5, 7 years ago. Rise for Tomorrow is a education consulting firm. And so basically what I do, in layman terms,
Hmm.
I'm still a teacher. I was a teacher back in the day.
Hmm.
Still a teacher, but now my demographic, my clientele is slightly different. So I
Okay.
work with teachers and I work with school leaders, both principals and district professionals as well. So
Okay.
basically, what I do is I go into schools.
Hmm.
I look at their key systems. Schools, the success of schools are based upon interconnected, interdependent parts. And so what I do is I go in and I assess their systems, and then I help them improve on their current results.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to say first off that I am extremely proud of you coming not just from the adult me, but the child side of myself as well. Mr. Morgan was a teacher when I went to Central when I was in high school. And let me tell you, this brother had some bad moves, y'all. Let me let y'all know. The brother was bad, right? So it's just nice, to see that you are still giving back, that you are still sowing seeds into other young people, and that you are affecting them the way you affected us. And I want to say, whether you know it or not, your role that you played for a lot of us was major. To see you just expand on that and just continue to be the awesome individual you are is just amazing. So
I
kudos
definitely
to you,
appreciate
sir.
that. Definitely appreciate that.
Kudos to you. Now, I know, like I said, that you had started off teaching because I know you from Central.
Mhm.
Where is that merge? Where did that merge happen where you went from teaching and
Yeah,
choosing, hey, this is what I'm going to go over to?
that's a great point. Great question. Great question. So during my time at Central, to be totally honest, and I tell my teachers this all the time. To be totally honest, I never really saw myself as a true diehard teacher. I
Hmm.
got into education, to be totally honest, to be a coach. I was a
Okay.
wrestler in college. I
Hmm.
love wrestling. I wanted to coach as well. So I felt the best way to do that was to go back to high school and be a teacher.
Hmm.
So my first initial year there, um, I really saw myself grow as a teacher,
Okay.
and my skills slightly started to shift.
Hmm.
My background was one that was, I come from very humble beginnings. We lived in poverty my entire life, and my first year teaching, what I started to really realize, what I really started to see was, I started to see a resemblance of myself and in many of my kids,
Hmm.
the struggles that I endured as a child, not really having a lot of direction. Um, Through high school and thereafter. So I really started to get really passionate about this thing called education.
Hmm.
Coaching kind of took a back seat, and I really, I wanted to be the best. I wanted to be the best possible teacher I could be. So, if anything, I could say I made a huge impact on the lives of the students that I had. Now, at that time, I really started to submerge myself into the work. I always tell folks that if you're willing to do it, be the best at it, be the very very best at it. And so I was striving to be the best teacher, and that allowed me some more opportunities. So after about 3 or 4 years in the classroom, I decided to try to expand my territory, if you will.
Hmm.
I got a job at the district office, St. Lucie County District Office, and locally, I started training teachers within the St. Lucie County School District. I did that for about 3 years. Again, the learning curve was steep. I really felt like who am I to be amongst all of these notable educators and amazingly brilliant people working at the district office, and I saw myself having to learn very, very rapidly to be at their level.
Mm-hmm.
Well, about my third year in, I really started to get comfortable. I really started to feel like I belonged there, and I was an
Mm-hmm.
instrumental part of what we were doing within the county. And that year, I started to build a few programs, a few
Mm-hmm.
projects. One such program, I was able to market that program to a major for-profit organization. Uh, Initially, my goal was to, just to simply sell it. I thought it was a great product that could help teachers out.
Mm-hmm.
And the company that I pitched it to, they actually ended up offering me a job. And so
Okay.
I took the job with this company. Again, it was a tough decision to make because I was moving pretty rapidly. 3 years
Mm-hmm.
in the classroom, 3 years at the district office, and now I had another opportunity to sell this product. Uh,
Right.
they didn't want to buy the product outright, but they wanted to hire me as a consultant, as a
Mm-hmm.
content developer, and as a trainer.
Mm-hmm.
So reluctantly, I took the job. And 3 years of working for that company, I realized, you know what? I think I can do this on my own. Huge leap of faith. God pushed me to start my own company, and I've been doing it for the last 6 years. So really, the route to where I'm at was a slow, tedious route with a lot of hard work, but a lot of huge steps along the way.
So, your title currently is what exactly? What would your title be?
Yeah.
So,
So I would say that for starters, I'm the CEO of the company.
mm-hmm.
I have a team of people that work with me. I have some full-time consultants, and I also have some folks that do some contract work. So I am a CEO of the company, but I like to essentially be called a education consultant. So I
Okay.
go in and I support schools. I train teachers. I work with school leaders, trying to move the school either from good to great. If they're
Mm-hmm.
already a good school, we try to move it to that level of greatness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, However, if the school is in dire need of support, we also do turnaround schools as well. So if a school has
Okay.
been lacking several years, we
Mm-hmm.
try to turn it around as well.
Okay. Now, um, sidebar. I know that you said like when you were at the district office, how you kind of felt like, who am I to, be coaching these people
Yeah,
like little old me? But I think sometimes what we have to realize is we have to grow into our positions, right? I think sometimes we don't feel like we fit, and it's not that we don't fit; we just don't know how to fit yet.
yeah, you're absolutely right, and I totally agree with that. Um, there's this notion of I think, therefore I am. So the
Mm-hmm.
way you think, the way you approach situations, that becomes you. It literally becomes you. Whatever you focus on consciously every single day, it slowly becomes a part of your subconscious. So
Right.
at first, I really didn't feel like I belonged there. But the
Mm-hmm.
more and more I gave it, 100%, more and more I invested the time. And that's really what the important part is investing the time,
Right.
uh, not really chasing dollar signs, but chasing getting better,
Right.
chasing passion,
Mm-hmm.
chasing purpose.
Yeah.
And slowly I started to feel more comfortable in my own skin in
Right.
that position.
Yes. So I know you spoke to as well about your humble beginnings.
Hmm.
If you don't mind sharing, just only because we have listeners from all walks of life.
Yeah,
Um, so if what you're willing to share, if you could kind of share what
sure.
that is.
Sure. So, growing up, um, my for starters, my mom and my father got divorced when I was 8 years old.
Hmm.
Prior to that, my dad had spent some time in jail. So the time that he was in jail, we were living with my mom. It was quite a bit of us, 8 of us, living with my mom. My mom had a ton of kids, and we were literally getting evicted, left and right, left and right, left and right. It was tough growing up. not having a lot of the things that some kids would take for granted.
Yes.
Birthday parties and Christmas gifts and you know Thanksgiving holidays, things of that nature. We weren't living that life. I used to really think back. I used to watch Cosby Show. I used to watch Family Matters quite a bit
Yeah.
growing up. Those were some of my favorite shows because I used to always envision, what would have been like to be a part of a
In
family of
that
that
family.
sort. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we most definitely didn't have that. But through the grace of God, my father got out of jail when I was about 8, like I said, and he turned his life around.
Mm-hmm.
He turned his life around, and even as a convicted felon, he found means and found ways to take care of all of us. And again, my father was at that point a single parent, and he
Mm-hmm.
was raising all of us in one small house, and he got the job done.
Right.
At that point, we were still living in poverty, but to be totally honest, I never felt poor. We didn't. Sure, I didn't have all the nice J's and everything else, but we never wanted for anything. My father did a amazing job conforming his life, giving his
Mm-hmm.
life to God, and raising us in a house that put school and a relationship with God first.
Yes. Yes. I definitely think, I'm not going to say I think, but I know that being a parent now, I realize how hard it is to parent.
Yeah,
And I think that makes you appreciate your parents more, because
absolutely.
they made everything look so good and it made it look
Yes,
so easy. And now that you're an adult dealing with those things, like this can't be the same $2 that my parents
yes, yes,
because all of the things that they were able to obtain is close to impossible. So just it just makes you that, well, myself speaking for myself, it definitely makes me very grateful for my parents. To now that I am a parent, to understand like what all comes with that and
absolutely.
how we have to make things look good to our kids, but in the inside we are like torn. We don't know where the next this coming from.
Yeah,
Sometimes this that, but your kids will never know that. You know.
absolutely. I'm actually on assignment right now. I'm in Indianapolis right now.
Okay.
This is my home away from home,
Okay.
and as I tell my kids every time I leave, I'm making a way so that their future is going to be brighter
Right.
than mine was ever at the time when I was at their age.
Hmm.
But you're absolutely right. During my high school years, I was upset. I was upset quite a bit. I never
Hmm.
understood uh, why my father made some of the decisions that he made.
Hmm.
But hindsight, everything that he was doing, he was trying to ensure that I was going to be able to be successful one day.
Right.
So he kept me in the house.
Hmm.
He maintained a tight watch on
Hmm.
us when we were younger, and he had structure. He had rules, he had procedures, he had routines in the house. He made sure that we had a relationship with God. And again, hindsight, looking back, I see how every single decision of his was helping me become a better person later on in life.
Hmm. Hmm. I am definitely. My mom and dad were um, kind of on the strict, side.
Hmm.
Um, and I think as a kid, I didn't really understand it. I just thought my parents were so mean.
Yeah,
Like, oh my god, like I mean, I think I should be able to walk to the corner store without an issue, or I
right.
think I should be able to go to this party. And I did not understand it, as a teen, but now being an adult, I understand, and I'm so grateful because I look at those who had the freedom that I did not have,
Bingo.
and man, I'm grateful. And that's not judging anyone
Yeah,
because we all have our own walks of life. But I am thankful that my parents just were strict, and that allowed me to have some restraint on a lot of things. But
absolutely.
just looking at those people who had so much freedom compared to those of us who were like cooped in the house, couldn't do much, uh,
Right.
it's a totally different
Yeah,
lifestyle, and it just, I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for it. And like you said, definitely, putting God in the midst and just knowing that, He is all in all and He'll help you through any situation. And I
absolutely.
know that you definitely, have to had many conversations and many times where you probably feel like giving up, throwing in the towel. And I'm sure that was your source.
Yeah.
And just being, was this your first business?
Yeah, owning a consulting company was never something I aspired to do as a child.
Hmm.
To be totally honest, even when I went to college, I went to school for engineering, so
Okay.
education wasn't even on my mind at the time. 2 years into college, I changed my major to education, and even to be totally honest, even at that moment, I thought education was something that I would fall back on.
Hmm.
Not many folks know, but I thought I was going to be a backup dancer, real life backup dancer. I thought I was going to be behind Usher, dancing
Well,
24/7.
listen, because you bad. I want you to. I'm gonna say you were. I don't know how your joints working now, but back
I
then,
still can move a little bit, but but
okay.
no, real talk. I thought I was going to be a backup dancer. I tried out for a couple shows on TV.
Hmm.
Did the So You Think You Can Dance TV
Hmm.
show, and during that season that I was on the show, I conceived my first daughter, and I had a decision to make. I could chase this, dream of dance and all this other stuff. I had some friends move out to LA and do that sort of thing, or I could, try to get some sustainable income. And
Hmm.
I chose the latter. I chose sustainable income,
Hmm.
and slow steps along the way helped me get to where I'm at. But yeah, this is the very first company I've ever owned. As I sometimes tell my team, I'm learning to fly this thing. I'm building this thing as I'm flying it. And
Hmm.
so I don't have an MBA. I don't have a background in business. I just know a little bit of something about education,
Hmm.
and God has also ensured that I have the right people around me. I have some amazing mentors who I can
Yes.
call on at a moment's notice, and I approach them like, hey, how about this? How would you handle this situation? How do you handle this situation? Which again speaks to the importance of networking and making connections. So I've been able to make the right connections, keep the right people close to me,
Hmm.
and we've been going 6 years strong.
Yeah.
And again, we're at just at the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot
Hmm.
of things coming down the line, and I'm just excited for the work that I'm doing now.
Yeah. I'm definitely excited for you. It sounds amazing. I see that you have done amazing work. And it is definitely important to make sure that your group of individuals you have, they are not just taking up space but serving purposes, right?
Absolutely.
Um, and sometimes, God places people in our life spontaneously, right? Like
Yes.
you just bump into them.
Yes.
And so I have an interview coming up with a young lady who I grew up with. And I was just going to the gym. She happened to be leaving out of the gym. Now I haven't seen her in years, but you kind of see somebody like, I think you kind of know you. And I just kind of randomly, how black people do, just
Yeah.
randomly was like, hey, get it up. And then she was like, yeah. I was like, oh, hey, how you doing? We spoke for about 45 minutes on just catching up. And I shared my story about dealing with anxiety, depression. She shared like her being in a domestic situation and
Hmm.
how she was dealing with depression, and we both left the conversation feeling much lighter. Not
Hmm.
only because we hit cross paths and it's been a long time, but just to know
Yeah.
like I'm not the only one. Like I have support. I have people who are
Absolutely.
going through similar things, even though it may not be in that magnitude.
Hmm.
It's in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
So it is definitely nice to have your people, and then to
Yeah.
have people that understand like where you are in this walk of life.
Absolutely. I mean, we should never be too busy to have a conversation.
Hmm.
And the moments that you don't think about it the most, that's when God, sends someone your way, and it'll brighten your day. And that'd be the only thing that you needed that day.
Hmm.
It'll change your complete mood. It'll give you the message that He's been trying to give to you. So yeah, I always try to stay, remain humble, remain
Hmm.
grounded, remain open, because that's how you, again, attract good people. You attract the messages that He's trying to send you. But yeah, I absolutely love building and networking with people. Because again, what I've learned real quick, and either even in business, is not always what you know, is who you know.
Absolutely.
That really makes the difference. So
Absolutely.
if anything, that's probably one of the biggest, most impactful things that I've learned thus far as a business owner.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've learned, like you said, it's not, like you said, it's not about what you know, it's who you know. And sometimes your name comes up in rooms you would never imagine, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I know people probably look at this podcast like, girl, like give up on it already. I won't. Only because I know that there is something behind it. I know there's a purpose. And I've had people, I would say in a week, roughly.
Hmm.
On a slow week, I send at least 15 to 20 emails. These are invites to come on the podcast, right?
Yeah.
And I was doing that every week.
Yeah.
And then I would get like two or three people reply. Some people never reply. Some people like, oh, I don't really like speaking on camera, and just 101 excuses, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Um, but then I started having people reaching out to me, like, hey, you have some dates available, like this person. So I had a publicist to reach out to me, and he has this line of like Black owned businesses,
Yeah.
from hair care to models to artists. It's just a whole directory of these people. He's like,
Hmm.
listen, I have clients and I want you to have them on the podcast.
That's
I had
awesome.
another young man, hey, seen your podcast, love what you're about. How can I get on? So those things, while they seem very minute to some people, to me
Yeah.
are very major. And it's
Yeah.
definitely my why, like why I am able to get up every Sunday and say, hey,
Absolutely.
what 9 o'clock, from 9 to 10 or 9 to whatever, I'm
Right.
going to invest this time into the podcast because it's helping people.
I can totally attest to that. There are many times where I felt like, you know what, maybe I should go back into the public school system. Maybe I should, this business thing is not for me. But every single time I've had those moments of I guess um, where moments of fear. Really, that's what it is.
Hmm.
Fear. Uh, a door is open up. A
Yes.
door is open up. And for the first time in my life, literally for the first time in my life, I can truly say I'm doing what God placed me on this earth to do. And I
Right.
know that. I wake up every single day knowing I was meant to be a teacher.
Right.
And one door just simply keeps opening up another door.
Hmm.
Um, the good book always talks about what's for you will be for you. And there's really not much man can do about it.
At
And
all.
that really has been my journey.
Hmm.
Because again, no business background.
Hmm.
I left a very, very good job working for
Hmm.
this agency and took a leap of faith with no clients underneath my belt, with a house full of kids that I got to take care of, no insurance. And I said, I'm gonna follow what I believe you have for me.
Hmm.
And I took that leap of faith, and slowly one door has opened up after another. And like I said, 6 years in, where last year was my best year to date, and the
Hmm.
year before that was the next best year to date. So each year we're just getting
It's better.
a little bit bigger. I'm at a point right now where I'm considering whether or not I want to scale the company. Do I
Hmm.
want to keep it mom and pop? Keep it small, agile, so I can move quickly,
Hmm.
or do I really want to push this thing and see how far we can go? But
Right.
either way, I know that I'm doing what I'm passionate about. I'm doing what I love to do.
Hmm. Hmm. And I think the thing about faith is, like you said, it's scary and it's uncertain. And it's one of those things that you have to say, I'm going to just give it all to you.
Yeah,
And I see this wall here. I don't know how we about to get over it, through it, past it, but I'm going to let you figure it out. I'm going to sit in this back seat and I'm going to trust
right.
you to do this thing. Because I think sometimes we like I'm gonna give you this Jesus, but I don't really want to give you this stuff over here. But I'm gonna give you this right here. I'm gonna try to do this myself, and that's where we mess up. But to totally walk and just step out on faith, and then to see how much your company has grown, um, that's amazing. It's a testimony in itself.
Yeah,
Um, but to other young people or other people of color, I would say,
yeah,
that may have, ideas they are sleeping on, or they're like, oh, I want to do it, kind of scared, not sure how it's going to work. Because you hear all the time how people put their 9 to 5 and boom, I'm a millionaire.
bingo.
Well, nobody ever says, but this is how I did that. Like,
Yep.
it wasn't like I quit my job, here go the millions. It was like I quit my job, some Roman noodles, some peanut
Yeah.
butter and jellies. Don't know if these lights about to get cut off. Got to sleep over here on this couch. They don't
Yeah.
tell you those parts. It's
Bingo.
just I quit my 9 to 5 and boom, I'm a millionaire. Let me teach you how to get it.
Right. One.
So what's your
Yeah. So my ingredients to success. I would say my ingredients to success. One, you have to chase passion, chase whatever you're passionate about, chase whatever was fulfilling to you. It
right?
doesn't matter if you're cutting hair, doing nails, whatever it is that you're doing, become the best at it. And when I say the
Yes.
best at it, I don't mean locally. Don't just be the best barber, in St. Lucie County. Try to be the
Yes.
best that you can be,
Period.
because what happens is the money finds you. If you
Mm.
if you increase what they call human capital is essentially your knowledge and your skill that you possess. If
Mm-hmm.
you increase your human capital, the money tends to find you.
Yes.
And so what I do is I submerge myself in my work.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I go to sleep thinking about. Is what
Mm-hmm.
I wake up thinking about. Although I may not work every single day, I'm working every single day up here. I'm
Mm-hmm.
consistently strategizing, consistently trying to push the envelope. So you have to have work ethic. You have to have discipline. There are days that I don't want to get up and do the work that I'm doing,
Right.
but that discipline is going to set you apart. That consistency is going to set you apart. After a while, you become a machine.
Mm-hmm.
You just become very, very skilled. I think the another secret part of success is being being sure about the people that you're around. Now, when
Yes.
you think about your
Yes.
belief systems, they are they fluctuate.
Mm-hmm.
They're essentially what they call malleable.
Mm-hmm.
They can be conditioned.
Mm-hmm.
One day you can be on top of the world, think you can accomplish anything. The next day you could be in the dumps with high depression.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that's going to keep you in that high belief system area is the people you surround yourself with. You need people pouring into you that are
Yes.
consistently um, elevating your confidence,
Yes.
consistently pushing your belief system. Because as soon as you get around the wrong person, they're going to tell you, no, that's not a good idea. What are
Mm-hmm.
you thinking? Why would you even do that?
Right.
That's not the type of energy that I want. So
Those negative Nancy's.
when you
Yeah.
hear all about the good vibes, I want to keep my circle. That's all that information. That's research based. That
Mm-hmm.
is research based.
Mm-hmm.
The people that you surround yourself with, I forget the actual research study, but you're going to be within $1,000 to $3,000 of that person in terms of salary.
Yeah.
The 5 to 6 people that you're closest to. So you have to consider that. What type of life do I want to live? What type of vision for my future do I want to have?
Mm-hmm.
And do the people that I surround myself with share
Right.
that same type of thinking? And if not, and again, it may be painful for some, but you have to realize at some point you got to cut some people loose because they're
Yes.
not meant to go where you're going.
Yes. Yes. I tell people all the time, my group of friends that I have now, I would not trade. And I say that because I have a friend for everything, right? I have a
Right,
friend I
right.
can pray for, I can pray with.
Yes, yes.
I have a friend, like if I call, like, hey, you got that bill money? I got one of those friends,
Right.
I have a friend that I can just say I'm having a bad day, and they know that they can just sit there. We can talk, we can hug, we don't have to say anything. I have those friends. So
Yeah.
for me, my friend circle it's very personal. I'm very protective of them.
Hmm.
In fact, my friend Miss Sanders is who was like, you should try to interview. She called you Terry, and I was like, who was that?
Yeah.
Terry Morgan. I was like, oh, Mr. Morgan. She's like, yeah. I was like, well, I don't know him by Terry. I know him by Mr. Morgan.
Yeah.
So I was like, what is he doing? She kind of gave me some insight. I was like, hey. I was like, yeah, I would definitely be interested in it. But let me say this. She is an amazing friend, right? I have only known her, I probably have known her maybe a year, coming up on a year. But in this year, she has been more of a friend to me than people I've known for years.
Yes.
And she's not one of them friends like, oh, you're having a bad day. Let me, make you feel good and stroke your ego. She's like, no, listen, you're gonna have your moment. You need to get it together. Because
Yes.
what we doing after this? Like,
Right.
we need to come up with a game plan.
Yep.
I'm gonna let you have your moment. And I'm gonna give you a few minutes. But when I come back, we're gonna put our big girl drawers on, we're gonna figure this thing out. because
Right.
we can't stay stuck here. We got to
Right.
keep it moving. But I am thankful for friends like her because I think life would be so much harder without them.
Hmm.
Um, and definitely dealing with things like depression and anxiety, you need those people, right?
I totally
That's
agree.
going to pull you past the finish line and not just sit there and try to put the band-aid on and give you some water and
Hmm.
do compressions and just
Right.
baby you in your mess. Like, no, we started, we about to finish. That means we finishing. If I got to carry you, if
Yeah.
I however I got to get you across this finish line, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Um, I have friends that kind of we my closest friend group. Actually, the funny thing is, my closest friend group happens to be a bunch of my mentees, and
Mm-hmm.
I really don't see them as mentees anymore because they're grown men. They're like my brothers now. I call
Right.
these guys my brothers. We
Mm-hmm.
call ourselves the power circle,
Okay.
and there's a little bit of everything in that circle. There's business owners, there's law enforcement, there's people who there's married men, there's
Mm-hmm.
men that are trying to get married. There's a
Right.
little bit of everything, and
That
so
makes sense, love.
as we walk through this life, we're constantly relying and depending on each other
Right.
for advice and suggestions here and there. Because my father passed when I was in my last year of college. When I was actually my junior year, my father passed away.
Okay. I'm sorry to
Um,
hear that.
and so when I get out of college, I don't have a lot of male mentorship right away.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
was out there making a lot of dumb mistakes, a
Yes.
lot of dumb mistakes. Um, and so I hold this group that I'm a part of very, very dear to me because again, that's what we are for each other.
Mm-hmm.
We are simply the barrier to making bad mistakes.
Right.
So consistently, we talk every day. We talk about investments, stocks, marriage, family, Christianity. We talk politics, you name it. We talk about it because it's nice to know that other people are in fact dealing with
The same things.
same exact thing.
Mm-hmm. Same things. Now, you said that you have mentees or your brothers now,
Yeah.
and I know that that was probably because, like you said, you had lost your dad and all the mistakes that you made, and I'm sure you just wanted to be the person that you needed when
Yes.
you were younger. Um, but my question is, I know that you stated that your dad was, in the household, he did the best he could do, he was the best that he could be. So why, outside of that, could you just kind of give us a little tidbit as to your thoughts on why it's important to have a male in the home?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. There's some things that only men can speak to and men can deal with, or men can talk about certain situations a little bit
Hmm.
differently. I think a man shows strength.
Hmm.
He shows a young man how to love a woman, how
Hmm.
to raise a family, how to be dependable,
Yes.
how to be hardworking. And so when you're growing up, you're constantly conditioning the kids in your home. They're
Yes.
learning whether they know it or not. I noticed today, like my son, his mannerisms are all mine.
Hmm.
The way he approaches, playing video games when he gets mad, he says the same thing I say when I get mad. He's like,
Yes.
"Oh," and so every single thing that I see him doing is a reflection of me.
Yes.
And if I want him to grow up to be a awesome young man, an awesome citizen, person that then becomes a great husband,
Hmm.
I have to model that for him. I have to
Hmm.
be that for him. It's hard to get that when you don't constantly see that.
Hmm.
And so I think it's necessary to have a strong father in the home because again you're growing the next generation. You're
Absolutely.
helping your kids raise their kids essentially because you're going to see a reflection of how you raised your kids and how they raise theirs.
Mhm. Absolutely. So as you may or may not know, BlckBold&Beautiful has it's still a platform for people of color, Black excellence, all those good things. But we have also merged over into mental health, right? Um, because I have chosen to become a mental health advocate. So I'm
Yes.
going to ask you some questions about mental health.
Okay.
Just from a standpoint of a Black man,
Yeah.
a man of color. And just living in today's society and all the things that you guys have to deal with being a black man, a man of color in today's society, how does that or how has that affected you mentally?
Yeah. Yeah. So growing up, there's this notion that, especially from Fort Pierce, born and raised in Fort Pierce, just a kid from the fort. There's this notion of you always got to be hard. You
Mm-hmm.
always got to be tough. And
Hmm.
if you're crying, we don't want that
Oh,
soft stuff over here and all
hmm.
this other stuff.
Right.
And then it goes even further. There's microaggressions that we have to deal with every day. Every now and then I'll run into someone who says, "Man, you're well spoken. You're," and so I know exactly the underlining theme of
Right.
what they're trying to say.
Hmm.
Uh, I think this new focus on mental health is a step in the right direction because it's we're showing the next generation that it's okay to not be okay at times. It's
Right.
okay to deal with sorrow. It's okay to deal with depression, and you're not alone. You're not
Hmm.
alone in these feelings.
Hmm.
Um, I love the fact that my son, he's tough. My son wrestles. He plays football, but he's a sensitive little guy.
Hmm.
If something is wrong,
He gonna let you know.
he'll ask right away. He'll say,
That's
"Hey,
right.
is everything cool? You
Yeah.
all right?" He'll go up to my wife and say, "Hey, mom, you all right? You feeling all right?" I love the fact that he is a caring
Hmm.
young man, and again, he cares about animals. He cares about and years ago, he would have been said to be soft.
Yeah.
But I want to raise a son um, who understands that even men cry.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with crying. There's nothing wrong with having tough times because
Hmm.
tough times are going to come, and that's a
Absolutely.
given. That is a given. Tough times are going to come.
Hmm.
It's how you handle and manage those situations that determines your character. That
Hmm.
determines the type of person you are. There's this whole notion of a villain and a hero are the same exact have the same type of backstory.
Hmm.
They all experienced some type of trauma, some type
Right.
of the world was mean to them in some way.
Hmm.
The hero takes that on and says, you know what, I'm not going to let this happen to anyone else.
I'm gonna
I
be
want to
better.
make sure. Yeah, but the villain says, you know what, the world
Payback.
hurt me, I'm going to hurt the world back.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
it's really how you your perception and how you deal with the situation. Now, if you have people there with you, strong mentorship, strong father figures who are helping you deal and manage those situations, you have a better approach with dealing with it effectively.
Hmm.
Coming out with the right perspective, you
Right.
know, then turning into that villain who's only wants to do wrong and do hurt the world. But yeah, I think mental health is being aware of it,
Yes.
the step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Even in the black household, we don't go to doctors, we don't talk to shrinks, we don't do any of that stuff. We like we ain't doing all that.
Mm-mm.
But having said that, we have so much trauma growing up.
Hmm.
Many of us, we experience so much trauma growing up
Yeah.
in our lives, in our neighborhoods, that we have to get that stuff out. And if
Hmm.
we don't get that stuff out, it just becomes a ticking time bomb.
Yeah. And
And
it
so,
and it and it's a ticking time bomb that blows up on the wrong people and at the
exactly.
wrong place. That had nothing to do with it. But
Yep.
you already on edge.
Hmm.
You're already on edge.
Right.
Um, for me, I think that mental health is very taboo. In the Black community,
Yes.
like it's not spoken of.
Right.
I think that too is why I just outside of my own, story behind it.
Hmm.
I think that's why I have such a love for it is because it's not talked about. It's almost like it doesn't exist. Like, no, that child don't need medication.
Right.
They're not just acting out. Like, let's get to the core of it
Bingo.
because little hurt people become big hurt people that hurt other people.
Yep.
And that's only because for them it's normal.
Yeah.
Like, if your parent is always yelling and cursing at you when you have kids,
Yep.
naturally you feel like My mom yelling cursing me, I'm yelling cursing you because I turned out all right. So you think in real
Right,
life you jacked up. Like
right.
it's not normal. You need to talk to somebody.
Yep.
But and like I said, even when it comes to small things like going to the doctor, my mom and my parents, my dad is 78.
Hmm.
And my mom, she passed, but my mom would have been 64, 65ish. But they were old school.
Yeah.
Like I remember playing basketball at Central, rolled my ankle, girl shook the heck out of me. I mean, Miss Morgan, she shook the heck out of me. I mean, my thoughts went one way and my body went the other. I don't know. It was a bad situation, but my ankle was jacked up. I'm like, I need to go to the hospital. She's like, no. My mom's like, we're gonna get you some Epsom salt. We're gonna get you some
Yep.
warm water. I'm thinking, Epsom salt, ma'am. My ankle is fat. It's throbbing. Like I can't even walk.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this. Till this day, I don't have an issue with my ankle.
Yeah.
And all she did was elevate it, put Epsom salt on it, and she made me put pressure on it. Enough so, like over the weekend and while I was out, when I
Yep.
went to school, while it was hurting a little, till this day, I had it.
Same,
But
same deal. Same approach to, again, hurt, spraining an ankle or anything, stomach ache or anything. We didn't take medicine. He didn't believe in any of that stuff.
uh-uh.
We ate our medicine. He say, you know what? Let me go in the kitchen. Let me cook something. He put some herbs and spices in there. And here's the thing though. Here's the thing. We went. I missed 3 days of school.
Mm-hmm.
Kindergarten to 12th grade.
Mm-hmm.
3 days of school.
3 whole days.
3 whole days of school.
Wow.
We never got sick.
Yeah.
We never got sick
Mm-hmm.
to the point where we had to go to the doctor. So I used to have this joke about, the last time I was at the hospital, I was being born. I don't
Yes.
really remember being here much. But again, I think a lot of that is generational.
Yeah.
My dad had a very hard,
Mm-hmm.
tough, hardworking father, and so he's emulating every single thing that he,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that he saw growing up. And so there's many things that I'm trying to pass on to my son, but then
Right.
there's other things that I'm trying to, break those generational curses as well. But yeah, mental health is most definitely one that we are very, very conscious of.
Mm-hmm.
I think my dad most definitely dealt with some mental health issues
Yep.
that were never diagnosed,
Mm-hmm.
never really spoken to, and we as kids in the house we were conscious of them. Like,
Yeah.
dad's in one of those moods
He
again.
on one today.
Get out! I'm gonna stay in the room today. I'm not
Don't
dealing
breathe
with
too
it today.
hard. Because you blink too many times, that's it. It's
Bingo,
over.
bingo. So
Yeah.
yeah, some things are generational.
Yeah.
Some things can actually even be hereditary, passed on through genetics.
Mm-hmm.
But the most important thing is just being aware of it. And for many of our community, we don't see that as a priority. There are
Mm-hmm.
other things that kind of are, that
Top
are
tier.
more important than, oh, you're not feeling happy right now. Well, go sit your butt down. That's
Yeah.
how we deal with it, as opposed to trying to talk things out with our kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think like the way sometimes parents, like, you ever been in a situation where your parent might have accused you of doing something or got
Hmm.
upset with you about something that was not even the case?
Yeah,
But
we don't
they never said sorry. It
have,
was,
never like we don't have a
you
lot
want
of
some chips
bedside
or
manner.
yeah, yeah, like
No tact, and we'll come in, and there's all these memes that go into, we never say sorry. We'll just say something like, put your shoes on. Let's
put
go to
shoes
the
on.
park.
We going to the store.
Yeah.
Like what? You
And
were
so
just yelling at me like 10 minutes ago.
those are the things that I truly believe that we have to get better at as a
Mm-hmm.
community.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting a child down and actually apologizing as
Yeah.
a parent.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, the more and more we see, the more and more our kids see that, the more and more our kids become, better people, more well-rounded people. So even like even when you and your spouse are having a heated conversation, there are times where your kids need to see a conversation be resolved amicably. yes, we may be having a heated conversation right now.
Right.
It's an important concept.
Mm-hmm.
Let's show you how to move from, heated
This point.
conversation all the way through
Mm-hmm.
to being a resolve. Let me hug you, give you a kiss on the cheek to let them know that boom, everything's done. We had our conversation.
Right.
Now we're good.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we don't teach that, again, our kids have to figure those things out on their own.
Yeah. Yeah, that was something that when I was in therapy for my own separate therapy, that was something that, came up, and she said, when I was younger, just tell about my childhood. I said when I was younger, I didn't really, talk to my mom about a lot. I didn't talk to my parents about a lot. She said, why? I said, well, I feel like I didn't have that open door policy.
Right.
And that's not to say not to say my parents are bad parents or horrible, nothing like that, but it's just how they were brought up.
Yep.
And it was an open door policy. I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't know if that was going to upset you, if I was in trouble. I never knew, so I kept a lot of things inside. Yep. Naturally, growing up, I kept things inside because I wasn't used to communicating.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I bet my husband wish I didn't know how to communicate now, because I will communicate. I'm gonna communicate.
Right.
You gonna hear me now, or you gonna hear me later? But I'm gonna communicate.
I think communication is key. Like no matter what situation you're in, because you think about it. When you communicate, you're essentially telling someone what it is, how you feel. You're telling them what you want, and if that person doesn't know that, again, they're left to trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out what you need, what you want, and my perception of what it is that you need and want may not be what you need and want at all. So when you're able to bridge that gap with communication, I think that it creates a much healthier relationship. Whether it's spouses, whether it's friends, whatever the case, communication is key. Yes. And again, with our people, we don't communicate. We'll say somebody's acting funny, and we'll get ghost on them, not knowing anything that's actually happening. Yeah, they have their own thing going on. They're dealing with battles themselves. Oh, he acting funny. Oh, you know what? Cool. Let me get ghost on him, and then we'll go out about our business. So as much as I can, I try to do as much communicating as I can. It's still new to me. It's still this new thing that I'm learning that I didn't develop as a child, how to communicate with people.
Yeah. I think that, communication, like you said, is key. It is something that, once again, is kind of taboo, because I am also the parent, right? I'm also the parent that allows my kids to express themselves, because if you don't like something, I think you should be able to express that. Right. Without being like, oh, you understand, child. What makes him or her expressing herself not be in child's place? Because I don't get it. Because if you don't like your meal at a restaurant, you tell them to take it back because you don't like it, right? But you're telling them, I'm gonna complain about it, but you sit there and you eat it. No,
right?
If you don't like it, that's not saying you saying, oh, I don't like XYZ, that if I said you're going to do it, and we've already set this rule, that's not going to happen, but I appreciate you expressing your concerns. I understand. I appreciate it. However, we still going to do this. But I think that kids should be able to express themselves. That's something else that Black US folk don't do. It's just like, that is not disrespectful. I'm sorry. Now, I understand it could come off disrespectful according to how you say it, your tone, your body language, because sometimes my kids say something, I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on, let's go back. I said what you saying, but I'm gonna have to check your tone. And I feel like you were bucking a little bit when you said it. Let's revisit that thing. I'm trying to figure out, are you coming at me, as a kid, or are you trying to size me up? Because I want you to know I'll fold you up.
Relax your shoulders a little bit. Relax.
You know what I'm saying? I'll break it down like a fraction. Just chill out. But relax your shoulders a little bit. You said it with your chest, and I don't like that. But I think that kids should be able to express themselves.
I agree.
Stuff in the Black community, like, oh, kids should not be able to say lie because it's a bad word. How?
Right.
If it's not the truth, it's a lie. That's what it is. It's not a story. It's not something. It's not. It's a lie. Oh, why is it bad? Where? Who told y'all that lie is just so disrespectful?
All those things passing on from one generation to the next. And in our house, if I looked at my dad the wrong way,
Mm-hmm.
I was talking back. That was
Yeah.
so like when as soon as he said something,
Mm-hmm.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hey, yes, yes. And you know what it created? It created a person um who was not vocal,
Mm-hmm.
who was not going to who was not outspoken. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm having to undo all those years of conditioning. And so just like you were speaking to, if you want someone who is outspoken, who sticks up for themselves, that's not going to happen overnight. That kid is not going to do that, just turn that light on and do that. That
Right.
has to be something that is conditioned. And if you push it, if you suppress it,
Mm-hmm.
keep it dormant,
Mm-hmm.
that kid never develops into that type of person. Because everything that we do consciously
Mm-hmm.
becomes a part of our subconscious. And after a
Yeah.
while, we don't even know where that behavior stems from. It's
Right.
just, you just felt compelled to say something or not to say something because
Mm-hmm.
you've been conditioned all your lives to
Mm-hmm.
act and behave a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So as a parent, there's probably, I'm far more conscious uh, when I walk into that house than
Yeah.
anywhere else that I am.
Yeah.
Anywhere else. And again, even as a black man working in education, there's this whole notion of coding, switching code and dual coding and all that. Being out in public versus being around my
Your
crew.
peer. Your
But
peer.
even as soon as I get in that house, I'm more conscious of everything that I do because I
Mm-hmm.
know kids are watching, they're listening, and they're learning. They're
Yeah.
learning the entire time. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a perfect parent, but there are times where I'm constantly, going back like, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
How can I handle that situation better the
Yeah.
next time? For
Yeah.
sure.
I've definitely I have moments where it's kind of like a friend's like, oh, probably could do a
Yeah.
little better.
Yep.
Like, no,
Yep.
I can see. I think little me want to like that, so I know they didn't like that, right?
Bingo.
Um, and my son, he is 6, and like your son, he is just lilies and butterflies. He's just want world peace. He's
Yep.
not a fighter. He will fight.
Right.
He fight. You don't push him. You don't push that boy. It was his only resort. But my son is a big kid. He's not like an average kid. He's a big kid. He's
Yeah.
tall. He's not like chubby. He's just solid.
Yeah.
And like he'll say, like if you say something to him that hurt his feelings, he'll say, "Mommy, I really didn't like when you said that." And they're like, "What do you say when you said X, Y, Z?" I said, "I'm sorry." He's like, "It really broke." And he doesn't say hurt. He
Yeah.
says, "You really broke my feelings."
Yeah.
Like you done shambled them to pieces. He's like, "You
And
really broke my feelings."
that is such a hard thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
if adults were able to say things like that, if friends were able to say things like that,
Yeah.
friends don't even say things like that to each other.
They just get mad and stop
They'll
talking.
just get mad and stop talking. They'll get ghosts.
Nobody want to have the hard conversations.
Bingo. And again, it's from not being conditioned to do that at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I applaud you for creating a space, safe harbors where your kid can, in fact, express himself. Because again, he'll be able to do that later on in life. He'll be able to tell
Right.
his wife, you know what, I'm not happy about this. I'm
Yeah.
not because I am the silent treatment king. I try. I am the silent treatment king. If
Yeah.
if I'm not happy about something, cool.
Yeah.
And I'm just
Cool.
you may not hear from me for a couple of days or something, but that's my shutdown mode.
Yeah.
And what I've learned is that I can't be that way.
Not healthy.
Not healthy. Life is too short.
Mm-hmm.
You can't bottle that stuff in. You gotta express yourself.
In that moment. Because
Yes.
people like to revisit things like, no. And that was a lot of like an issue kind of with my husband and I. If we didn't deal with it today, tomorrow we're gonna wake up and be friends. See me? No. No.
Right.
We not just gonna slide past it like, no,
Right.
brother. We ain't gotta talk about it tonight. But on tomorrow when you wake up, it's gonna be in your face. We dealing with it.
Yeah.
But because I have always, like I said, younger me always felt like I had to hold stuff in. I couldn't express myself because I would be considered disrespectful or, it'd be taken the wrong way, people's feelings. Now, baby, adult Ashley, she don't care. I try to give it to you as nice as I can. Now, how you take it, that's on you. But when
Right.
you hurt me, you gonna know it. When I don't like it, you gonna know it. And don't ask me a question you don't really want the answer to.
Right.
Because I'm gonna give it to you, and I'm not gonna put no sugar on it. It's gonna be as salty as it needs to be, but I have to do what's because ultimately I know we like we have our spouses, we have friends, our
Yeah.
parents, those who are we have those people who protect us, but ultimately it's
Take care of you.
your job to
Yes.
protect yourself.
Yes.
And if I let you walk over me one time, it's gonna be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 unlimited times you walk over me. No, I'm gonna draw this box of a
Hmm.
boundary to let you know, like, listen,
Yeah.
this is where it stops. You don't get to come any closer. You don't get
Yeah.
to say these things. You don't get to make me feel this way. And when you do, I'm going to speak on it.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, that's fine.
Yep.
But I had to learn to get there because I was like, somebody hurt me in my head. I'd be like, ooh. But I never say anything to this person. They be like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, hey. Now I'm
Right.
like, listen, I'm not even gonna fake the phone with you. I ain't feeling you right now.
Right.
I'm not feeling you because XYZ to the third. Now, I told you what it is. We can correct it and move forward, or you don't have to correct it. And we won't move forward. But that's how I'm feeling.
Right.
That's
No,
it.
you're absolutely right. Because if not, you basically become a shell of yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
you're not even true to your own self.
Yeah.
And again, I was that classic person to table it, uh, silent treatment,
Mm-hmm.
and then when my aggravation wore off, then I would come back to being
Revisit.
normal.
Mm-hmm.
But again, those days where those moments where your aggravation is not coming off, you you're not in a very happy space. You're not in a
Mm-hmm.
very happy space at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I would rather get through all of that nonsense, express how I feel, and then let's just move forward.
Yeah. I think that how I had to look at it is if I'm mad at you and you sleeping fine,
Yeah.
that's something else I put on my back and I'll be naked. You know what I'm saying? So now
Yeah.
I'm just like trying to carry all this, and now I'm mad at somebody else, and they sleeping fine, and I'm stuck with all. Just imagine me with this big old sack,
Oh,
like
that used to,
expensive
that used to
sack,
make me so mad. I
you
hate when
know?
when I'm up there trying to. I'm still upset. I'm still fuming, and
Yeah,
they snuggling, just having the best sleep of their life.
you know,
Oh,
it
that that,
bothers
always-
me.
that always get me.
So you know what I started doing? Them
What's
same
that?
packages that I'm picked up because I'm mad at you. I started dropping them back off to the
Yeah.
address they belong to because I'm gonna get me some sleep. You know what? You made me mad. Here, I'm gonna put the ball in your court. This is what you did. This is why you made me mad. Have a good day.
Yeah.
Let me know what you figure out with that. Let me move on
Right.
to the next person because that brought my stress level down.
Yep.
And I don't mean to sound like an a-hole, but at one point I used to just care about what people thought about me. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care. And that's not me being mean, but if you just lived your life based on what other people thought,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of life is that, man? That's stressful.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter what I do, right, wrong, indifferent, it's gonna always be a problem. You're
Yeah.
gonna always have something to say. So guess what? I have one life, I'm gonna live it. We gonna either do life together or we not. That's it. You
Yeah.
either here for a season or
Yeah.
you here. That's it. Nothing personal.
That has been a huge, a big one for me.
Yeah.
When you start to do do good for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna get a lot of
Cousin Pete's and
people.
all them.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I used to worry. I used to worry about what people thought all the
Yeah.
time. Oh, Terry acting funny not right
Mhm.
now. Oh, Terry this, Terry that. Terry done moved out the hood. Terry done did this. At this point in my life,
Right.
I honestly do not care.
Right.
I know that I'm what I'm doing. I know the people I take care of. I know the people um, that are part of my crew. I know people that are
Mhm.
part of my circle. I know my what my mission on Earth is supposed to be. I
Right.
know me taking care of my family. And if it's outside of that stuff and you have a problem with it, again at this point I don't care.
So
'Cause I
be it.
used to get so subconscious about how I would move.
Mm-hmm.
Even my the way I speak.
Yeah.
Oh, you sound this way. Oh, you
Mm-hmm.
sound that.
Mm-hmm.
I and I'm trying to switch up my voice so I can
Right.
sound more down. And
Yeah.
at
Yeah. Yeah.
this point, nah, man, I'm not trying to fit into the
Nobody's
yeah,
category.
yeah.
Yeah.
If if me as my authentic self is not
Hmm.
what you cool with, then we ain't got to kick it that way. But
Right.
that's my new season right there.
Yeah.
I focus on making sure I'm good, making sure the people that I take care of are good, and
Mhm.
then outside of that, I mean, I'm gonna keep it moving. I'm gonna keep it
That's it.
pushing.
That's it.
I'm not letting people's opinions and beliefs and all that other jazz dictate how I navigate life.
Right. Right. And when you are, enhancing or coming a different version of yourself, because
Yeah,
I'm a sole believer in you're never the same person you are. You're not the same person 365 days of the year. You're
nope,
not.
nope,
And that's not just in friendships, marriages, relationships. You're not. And
yeah,
people have to understand that as I evolve, that doesn't mean I think I'm better than you. I'm acting
there you go,
funny or,
there you go.
it's just there's a time and there's a season for everything.
Yeah,
And the season you met me in and the person you met, I'm not that person anymore.
completely different.
I'm
Complete.
a totally different person.
If we haven't talked in about 5 years,
Yeah. You don't
Tara,
know me.
Tara's a new person right now.
You don't know me.
Let me reintroduce myself to you because I'm a
Right.
completely different person.
Right.
My vision is different. You
Hmm.
know, my faith is different. My self confidence is different. My perspective, my outlook on life is different. My
Yeah.
goals are different. And
Hmm.
so if you come in thinking I'm gonna be the same Joker you met 10 years ago, I'm not that
You're in
person.
for a rude awakening.
Yep. Yep. So again, that's another big one for me. Like I always um people try to put you in a box.
Hmm.
This is who you are. This is who you
Hmm.
are. Whenever I come back to open that box, you
You
better
better be
be.
the same person.
I'm not that same person.
Nope.
So I've lost some friendships over that type of deal
Yeah.
because apparently I'm not down anymore. I'm not.
Yeah.
But take some time, get to know me. You'll
Right.
see you'll
That
see
this is a
how.
better version.
Bingo. Yep.
Yeah. You might actually like this person better, but you have to take time to understand that I'm a better person.
You know what that is? I think a lot of that though is almost a reflection of them. Them looking at you and the fact that you're moving.
and
You
they're
made some
stagnant.
strides, and they're stagnant.
Hmm.
Or they see themselves as stagnant. They see themselves in the same place, and it's almost a indictment on themselves
Yeah.
that is on you, uh,
Hmm.
and where you are now.
Yeah. I had to get to a place where I realized I'm not going to apologize for who I am, who I become. And that was something that came up with myself and my husband because it was something he said, something we were having a hard. It was one of them rocky times, man. One of them hard times, and I'm just like, you operate with me as if I'm that same 25-year-old you met.
Right.
I'm not. She done had two children. She done been working with other people's children. She
Right.
done had breakdowns. She done lost family members, close friends.
Hmm.
She done had different heartbreaks. You know, she a different that she who you met. That's not
Right.
me.
Right.
So, and I'm not going to ever be that person again because 25-year-old me hadn't had as much life experience as
Yeah.
32-year-old me. You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, she was probably, very naive and probably went for a whole bunch of foolishness and was quiet and that'd be the thing with me. People used to like quiet, little small, little quiet. Actually, I ain't her. She gone. She's not residing here anymore.
Right.
That's not me anymore. And I wasn't even happy when I was that person.
Right.
I was uncertain of who I was. I was uncertain of, I was always worried about what people thought because I just always felt that people put me on pedestals I didn't ask to be on. And when I was human,
Yeah.
you judged me and crucified me for it. Like,
Yeah.
no, I tell people, don't put me on a pedestal because I'm human. I'm gonna make mistakes. And
Yep.
listen, in most cases, because I don't take a whole bunch of stuff serious because life itself is very serious. I'm probably gonna laugh at my mistake and say, "Well, we'll try it again next time." Like set that up, but let's try it again and see what we can do further on down the line.
Right.
But yeah, like no, you have to realize that people will evolve and with life and just something isn't even how it was now compared to when I was in school. Think
Yeah.
about how much change has happened. Like
Bingo.
life be lifing,
Yeah.
and you have
Yeah.
no other choice but to change. Because if you don't, you're gonna lose it.
Yeah.
You're gonna
And
lose it.
I love to see people's evolution. Um, you watch people on Facebook, and again, Facebook, you don't see everything. You don't.
No, you see
It,
the
it's
pretty stuff.
it's a facade, and
Mm-hmm.
but there is some times where you actually get to see someone's true growth and true evolution, and it's a beautiful thing to see. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing to see people come into their own.
Mm-hmm.
Start that business that they have been talking on Facebook about for so long, and you see them
Yeah.
flourish. I
Mm-hmm.
love to see people win,
Yeah.
and so that's what to me that's what attracts me to certain people.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Winners. I like
Yeah.
people who win. I like people who are committed to attacking their goals. When you start getting into that complaining, I cannot hang around people who complain 24/7. Cannot do it.
Because
But
after you complain, and now what? Now that
yeah,
you don't complain, and
right,
okay,
right.
and so now what?
Same exact spot. So if you all about winning, if you all about achieving things, going after some goals, hey, we
Mm-hmm.
can talk.
Yeah.
We can you can be in my circle. We can hang out. But
Right.
if we talking about every time we hang out, we talking about the man that's doing this to you and doing that to you.
Yeah.
ah, we can. There's really three different type of people. Three different type of people. One,
Yeah.
uh, people who don't know what's happening,
Uh huh.
people who watch it happen,
Uh huh.
and then people who make it
Make
happen.
it happen.
Who
Absolutely.
make it happen. And
Mm-hmm.
every single day, we wake up with a choice and a chance to become whichever one of those people we want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you sitting around, there's too much resources out there. There's too much information out there um, for us to still be uh, pointing at someone else.
Yeah.
Your best earners, your best learners, your most successful people, they attribute their successes
Mm-hmm.
and their failures,
Mm-hmm.
successes and their failures,
Yeah.
to internal
Mm-hmm.
unstable factors. And
Right.
what that essentially means is it's up to me and I can do something about it.
Right.
As soon as you start to think that your success is or your failure is stable, that
Yeah.
means it's always going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always going to do bad. I'm always going to do bad.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get that mentality, you're done for.
Yeah.
Um, and then more you think about your success or failure as external,
Mm-hmm.
and not internal,
Mm-hmm.
you've given up control over your own life. You've given up
Right.
control over what you can actually um, change in your whole life. So the
Mm-hmm.
way I approach anything in life, my success and my failure, is completely up to me, and
Mm-hmm.
I can do something about it. If I don't like it, I can do something about
You
it.
can change it.
Yep, absolutely.
You can change it. Absolutely. Now, you were born and raised here in Fort Pierce.
Yes.
And for those who know Fort Pierce, they know Fort Pierce.
Yeah.
My question is, seeing you at a successful place now, and being well developed, well off, and just leading a great life. How did you avoid the gang activity here? Um,
Yeah. Good. Great question. Uh, my dad didn't play around.
you didn't play that.
he
That
didn't. He didn't play around. If I wasn't at school, I was at home. If I
okay.
was not at home, I was at church.
Hmm.
School, church, home.
Okay.
And when I say he didn't play around, it was that's all there was. It
Yeah.
wasn't even a hey, let me go hang out here. Hey, let me go to 13th Street Court. Let me go do this. Let me go to Dreamland.
Right.
No. The answer is no.
No.
So at a very young age, you know, I became very, very focused. Well, I've always been an avid learner. I've always been
Hmm.
an avid learner. I did pretty well in school. I had 1B growing up.
Go off.
Ninth grade geometry. So I had pretty good grades growing up.
Okay, we get it, Mr. Morgan. You was smart.
So when with all of that, he was like, "Why would you want to?
Right.
Why would you want to?"
Yeah.
And so that was kind of his thing. Like, if you have this, if God's blessed you with this, why would you want that? Why would
Yeah.
you want that? So, again, all my friends, I most definitely had friends who were, living that life or whatever else. I'd see them at school, whatever else. But outside of school, church, home, that's
Mm-hmm.
all I did. So it was never even, it was never even a part of my mentality or possibility that I would go into that type of life.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were just so sheltered,
Mm-hmm.
literally. Like I tell people, I lived in the hood, but I didn't live in the hood. If that makes sense,
Right.
I lived there, physically.
Mm-hmm.
But our mentality was completely outside of where we lived.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so what advice do you have for young black men, not just in Fort Pierce, just
Yeah.
young black men of color who may be struggling, who may be straddling the fence, want to
Mhm.
lead a decent life, but also interested in kind of tip tabbing over on the other side. What advice, if you were just giving it as a big brother or dad,
Yeah.
what advice do you have to those young people?
Um, I would immediately tell them to consider the consequences of that way of life.
Hmm.
There's this notion of you don't really find too many retired drug dealers.
Right.
You don't really see Frank Lucas hanging out, retired and doing his thing with all his millions.
You know.
You're going to end up one or two places.
Hmm.
You're going to end up jail or you're going to end up dead.
Yeah.
And again, but here's the thing: I'm not one to uh, uh, demonize or any of that. If that's what you're doing, in all honesty, if that's what you're doing, I would tell them to clean it up
Yeah.
for some way. Transition to clean money. We've seen it happen more times than not. You have all
Hmm.
these amazing entrepreneurs who are rappers who were once doing other things.
Hmm.
They somehow transitioned their money. They
Yeah.
cleaned the money up, and now that same type of work ethic, that same type of passion, that same type of hustler mentality, they're using it in a way that is not going to land them in trouble. So I,
Hmm.
I would say find something that you're passionate about. Find something that again that you wake up every day thinking about. Submerge yourself in that. Get the right type of people around you. If they're not
Hmm.
on the same thing that you're on, you gotta move from around them. Um, and one here's really a big one. Delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is something that this generation does not want. We
Right.
want to be rich right now. We want
Hmm.
to be rich right now. We want to get the idea. We want to strategize. We want to put it in play. We want to be millionaires tomorrow, um,
Tonight would be great.
tonight.
Uh-huh.
And success, it does not always work that way. Success
No.
is not linear, meaning it does not just go up on a straight
Right.
line. Success
Hmm.
looks like this.
Yeah.
It goes
All over
back
the
and
place.
forth, and then you'll hit your mark.
Hmm.
So I went from being a teacher
Hmm.
making $37,000 a year. My very
Hmm.
first my very first year, I made $37,000 a year.
Hmm.
Um, Within 10 years of that, I was making my first year working for myself. First year working for myself was my 10th year in education.
Hmm.
37,000 to making over 200 in 10 years.
Mm.
10 years of dedicated, focused work. And
Absolutely.
there's this author by the name of, I believe it's Malcolm Gladwell, if I'm not mistaken. He talks about 10,000 hours it takes to become an expert.
Okay.
Uh, 10,000 consistent hours of deliberate practice.
Hmm.
Whatever your craft is, whether you're cutting grass, cutting hair, you're artist, you're whatever it is that you're doing,
Hmm.
10,000 hours to become an expert.
Yeah.
And so for 10 years, I was deliberately focusing on education, education, education.
Hmm.
So, and then, 10 years, I went from 37 to over 200. And
Mm.
again, that was the first year that we started off with the company. And it's been growing ever since. So consistency is the name of the game. don't think about what the guy next to you is doing.
Right.
When you see the horses race in the Kentucky Derby, they have these little blinders on the side of their face like this. And the whole idea behind those blinders is that they don't get distracted by the horse that's running in the very next lane. Because if you get distracted by that horse, they fall. They lose their lane. They move into someone else's lane. They do a lot of and so I think life should be approached in the same way. I'm not looking at what the next dude next to me is doing, the next speaker, the next consultant, or the next. I'm right here. I'm only looking straight ahead, trying to outdo what I did the previous day, the previous week, the previous month. And that's just simply just trying to do better every chance you get. That's where your success is going to come from. Not watching others.
When it comes to the podcast, so funny story, we had this little local award show, right? And they had categories from photography, DJing, event coordinators, all this stuff, right? And then they had, the top nominees, which are like between 5 to 10 people in each category. So I was nominated for 2: photographer of the year, podcast of the year. Now I'm saying photography of the year, didn't think I was going to get it because I knew, although I started in like 2016, 2017, I still have a lot of learning to do. I've come a long ways, but I know I still have a lot of learning to do. And I know that there are people out there who on that list, they work way better than me. And I'm just going to say.
Gotcha.
But when it came to podcasting, let me tell you this, Mr. Morgan. When it came to podcasting, that thing had really cooked my grease. And I say that because the person that won it, I'm thinking, I literally never heard of your podcast. And not to be facetious, but who have you had on?
Right.
Like, what purpose is it serving?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I done had Damian Barry, who's played for the Falcons.
Yep.
I done had Jermaine Williams, Mushmouth, I forgot dang on Albert, Fat Albert, and I done had some different, big names when it comes to social media influencers, and I done had doctors and lawyers, and you mean to tell me this brother beat me? How?
Right.
So I went back and I'm like trying to compare, like, oh, well, maybe he did this, maybe he did that. Then I said to myself, self said, why are we comparing ourselves to somebody else? You have a purpose. You know why you started.
Yep.
Keep to your why, and what's for you is for. This is just a little local award show. This ain't the Emmys. Or the Oscars. It's just little Fort Pills.
Right.
You didn't get it? Cool. That's fine.
Yeah.
But to take it, and I was really willing to tweak everything about my show, just all of that, to just be like, oh, okay, maybe have a shot. I'm not doing it. You either I tell people, my podcast is either for you or it's not.
Right.
I know my purpose. I know what I set out to do, and I'm gonna stick to that. Only thing I have altered is adding mental health to it, because I think it was necessary. But I'm not going to argue. Like you said, you can't focus on what someone else is doing, because then you lose your focus.
Bingo.
And your purpose is their purpose, because now you're trying to focus on what they're focusing on. No, not doing it.
Absolutely.
Not doing it.
Yeah. I've had those same moments.
Yeah.
Those same moments. Doing the work that I do, the people at the top of the food chain, they make on average between 6,000 to 10,000 a day. Just going into a school or doing a speaking engagement, they're making money. They're making real money. And all the while, I watch these guys and I sit back and I'm like, wait a second. I'm a little bit better than that. So this is the guy that's the 10 G's a day guy.
Right.
I was like, wait a second. And the whole, and again, people win awards, people win this and this and this. I'm trying to get my book published. I'm like, he got 5 books published. Like, this is the guy.
Right.
And I have to remind myself. First and foremost, it is a human natural reaction to feel the way we do.
Yeah.
First and foremost, there's nothing wrong with feeling that if you're passionate about what you do, you're gonna feel that way at times.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Second of all, I start to realize that, uh, as you mentioned, what is my purpose? What is
Mm-hmm.
my purpose? What is
Yeah.
my passion?
Mm-hmm.
What is meant for me will be for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't need to worry about what they're doing over there, what
Right.
he's doing over here. All I need to focus on is improving what I'm doing, focusing on
Right.
my purpose, focusing on my passion.
Right.
Um, and I've always believed that I'm the best kept secret in education,
Mm-hmm.
the best kept secret.
Yeah.
Like you just don't know about me yet.
Right. You just ain't heard about me yet.
You just ain't heard about me yet. Like, but
Because
once
I'm
you
a
do,
Campbell. I'm Campbell chicken noodle soup. Good. Good.
bingo,
They know yet.
bingo. And
Yes.
and I love the fact that I don't do any marketing. I
Mm-hmm.
don't do any advertising. Every bit of what I do is word of mouth. So
Okay.
my work is speaking for itself. And
Mm-hmm.
so now I'm in the mindset of, what if I did market? What if I did
Mm-hmm.
have a huge social media presence? What if I did,
Right.
do all this stuff that these folks are doing? What would it look like then? I'm just in the mindset of, I don't want it to go to, I don't want to,
Blow up like that.
more money, more problems. I
Right.
don't want to deal with that. So I keep it at a minimum where I can maintain it. But
Mm-hmm.
I have to reassure myself constantly
Mm-hmm.
that I'm on the right path.
Right.
That God has for me will be for me.
Right.
And if that's in my future, it's in my
Mhm.
future. If it's not,
Yeah.
it is not. I
Right.
know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be sent here to do.
Yes.
But yeah, I trust me. It happens every single year. I see these people get these promotions. I see these people get, I see these people on the keynote stage speaking in front of
Mm-hmm.
thousands of people, and I'm thinking like, I could do that.
I
I
can do that.
I should be up there, but all in due time. All
Mm-hmm.
in due time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm definitely. I see people like you said doing keynote speakers. Definitely like at places like Essence
Yeah,
Festival and like the Curl Fest and stuff. I'm thinking, Lord, I can do that. And
yeah.
in fact, I would rock the crowd a little more. I rock the crowd better than that.
Right,
But
right.
I will
So
wait my turn.
all we doing right now, we practicing. By the
Yeah,
time we hit those stages, you're gonna be polished. You're gonna be completely refined. And
yes,
so every single day, like I don't count any day that I go to work as a waste or as
mhm,
like, because all I'm doing is refining. I'm getting
yeah,
sharper. I'm getting smoother. And when the moment is right, those doors will open up like
yeah,
everyone else has.
yeah. So mental health question again.
Yeah.
Scale 1 to 10. 1 being worst place, 10 being the best place. Where would you rate yourself mentally,
Let's see.
and why?
I would say
I already know what you're about to say. I guarantee I know what you're gonna say, but go ahead.
about an eight. I would
Okay.
say about an eight or
Hmm.
nine. Um, I got to always leave myself room for growth because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not where I need to be.
Right.
Um, I'm most definitely not at the bottom. I'm confident in myself, far confident I've ever been in my entire life.
Right.
Um, I have a lot of alone time. Being on
Hmm.
the road, you have a lot of alone time. And
Yeah.
you start to learn about who you are as a person.
Yeah.
You learn about how you tick and how you move. You have time for reflection, time for
Right.
meditation. So I'm in a good place. I'm a happy person. Like I'm in a very very happy space. I have some
That's good.
beautiful kids.
Hmm.
I wake up happy to do what I love to do every single day.
Hmm.
I have a beautiful wife, a
Hmm.
bad wife, who holds down the fort while I'm out here jet sailing around the world. Um, yeah, I wake up happy. There's not really too much on my mind that bugs me day in and day out.
Yeah.
I feel confident in what I'm doing.
Hmm.
Um, I don't seek the approval of people anymore. So I would say I'm in a very very good space. The 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 eight leaves room for continuous growth because I know that I want to become a better communicator.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to have those tough conversations with my kids, with my family, with my with my crew. Um, and I wouldn't mind, again, having some therapy sessions because again, I suffered a lot of trauma growing up.
Mm-hmm.
We had some tough times growing up, and again, I think I still harbor a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of that stuff. So I want to create time for me to, just sit on someone's couch and just, just shoot the breeze, just talk,
Yeah. Yeah.
and just get it out.
Right.
But yeah, I think I'm in a good space right now. There's
Good
not
stuff.
too much I can complain about.
Good stuff. I wholeheartedly thought you were going to say a 7, and I say that because
I thought
most
about a
people,
seven. I thought
I
about a seven.
know because most people ask, they're like, I'm a solid 7.
Yeah.
And I've been asking this question roughly like 3 weeks to a month because I had an event.
Yeah.
And it was my first event ever doing my podcast there. And that was my question. What's your scale? Just grabbing random people. What's your scale? What's your scale? Most people were at a 7. And from then on, it's just been a 7. So that's why I thought you would be at a 7. But it's good that you're not. It's good that you're at 8.
Yeah.
I also too will shoot you the information. I have information for a therapist.
Perfect.
He is a black male. Um, my husband and I see him and his wife for couples therapy, but we also see him separately for therapy. They're really dope.
Nice.
You will love them. I'm going to give you his information. But yeah, so do you have any, closing remarks, any information you would like the listeners and viewers to
Sure.
know?
Sure. I have a book dropping hopefully at the beginning of actually in the summer.
Okay.
Um, not sure on the title yet, but it will be focused on my work. You can check out any of my content on Twitter at _ Terry Morgan. Also on Instagram at Terry _ Morgan. I will be releasing a lot more content, and so this is actually a perfect time. Actually, when V contacted me and talked to me about the possibility of coming on your podcast, I said, perfect timing because I spoke with I spoke with the publisher, and they said, here's what we need you to do. We need you to create more visibility.
Yeah.
We need people to see you. We need people to hear you.
Mm-hmm.
So look for more content from me coming out. I'm going to be releasing more videos. I'm going to be releasing more content about what I do, and letting people into my world a little bit more. Cause I tend to be I'm a private person.
Yeah. You have to be though.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot of craziness out there. So I like to protect what I have, my family, all that jazz, my work. So I want to start to open up a little bit. And I think there's beauty in that because if I can help someone at any point, in their journey, like people help me on my journey,
Right.
That's what I'm here for. So yeah, just look for more visibility from all things Terry Morgan.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. I definitely have enjoyed the conversation with you.
Likewise.
It's nice definitely just to catch up on this side of things and not necessarily from a student's viewpoint, but I just want to say that I am overly, overly proud of you and your accomplishment. I wish nothing but the best. I pray that God continues to lead you where you need to go, continue to cover you, protect you and your family on this journey. I know that you will do great things and you will continue to be great. I thank you for your yes for being on the podcast. It has definitely, like I said, I've enjoyed the conversation. And I look forward to hearing from you and, doing some work with you. So we'll definitely, get that together. But yeah, I just thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, and let me give you your flowers. I think what you're doing is awesome, 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 awesome. I love the whole idea, the whole focus, and again, I would say keep pushing because again, you never know what's around that next corner.
Right.
I say keep pushing, become the best version of you. And again, God's going to open some doors. So I love everything that you're doing. I love being a part of it. I'm just happy that I was able to add some commentary to your platform.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that. Definitely appreciate it. So if you have no other remarks, I'm all done. I think this is an awesome conversation. I will definitely look forward to possibly having you back on. Just talk about some other things that we weren't able to hit on tonight. But yes, peace and blessings to you, and just stay safe out there.
Absolutely. Next time, I'd love to get into some conversation about investing, some
Hmm.
conversations about stocks and that whole setting yourself up with the really the best way to become a millionaire is just through your investment. Starting as early as you can. I'm starting to learn more about it now at my older age, but yeah, I would love to come on and add a little bit more conversation to the culture. So thank you again.
Absolutely. So we will definitely set you up to get that conversation started. I'm excited about that as well.
Perfect.
And yeah, thank you so much for your yes.
Thank you.
And you have a wonderful night. Enjoy your week. Have a great work week.
Thank you. Thank you. So it's a shorter week. I'm only going to be up here for a couple of days. I'm heading right back home. The back to school rush is slowly starting to wind down. So
Okay.
much needed time with my family. But thank you again
Yeah.
for having me on.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You have a great night.
You too.